Forbes has released a list of the 25 most powerful women in sports, and there are several WNBA players on this list, topped by Caitlin Clark at the number 4 position in all of sports. And it's not just athletes in this thing. It looks like there's presidents of companies, there's agents, there's behind the scenes power players, and there was. It was quite surprising to see the people that were not on the list, as compared to the people that are on the list. So
Forbes just released their 2025 Most Powerful Females in Sports list, and Caitlin Clark landed at number 4, the highest-ranked athlete on the entire ranking. She transformed an $8.1 million first year into complete career domination. But here's where it gets messy. A'ja Wilson scored number 15, and her reaction has been absolutely unhinged. We're talking about months of jealous social media posts and public meltdowns. So why is A'ja Wilson so threatened by Caitlin Clark's success? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's start with the elephant in the room: money. The average WNBA player walks away with roughly $60,000 in their first year. Caitlin Clark walked away with $8.1 million. That's not a typo, and that number absolutely shook the entire league to its core.
Forbes just came out with their America's Most Powerful Women in Sports list, and this was 25 people on this list. I don't know if it's like ranked or what, but there were a lot of WNBA figures on this list. Number 4 being the one and only Caitlin Clark. They said Caitlin Clark has turned her record-breaking college basketball career into early dominance in the WNBA. Her estimated $8.1 million in income from her rookie season with the Indiana Fever was bolstered by big deals with Nike, Wilson, and Gatorade, and signals a shift in how female athletes are being valued in the world of professional sports. Last month, the Fever announced that Clark would be sidelined with an injury for the remainder of the WNBA season to focus on her recovery, but the injury doesn't change the fact that Caitlin Clark has, in the last 2 years, been the spark that lit the match that set women's sports on fire. And I love this little blurb because they just gave her the praise that she absolutely deserves, and especially that last line right there. In the last 2 years has been the spark that lit the match that set women's sports on fire. Caitlin Clark is undeniable.
Think about what that means for a second. While rookies were calculating grocery budgets and figuring out rent splits with teammates, Clark was sitting in boardrooms negotiating deals that most veterans would retire happy to earn in their entire careers. Her WNBA salary itself wasn't dramatically different from other rookies. The base salary was reasonable. But everything off the court? That's where the real story lives. The Nike deal set the entire tone for what would follow. 8 years, $28 million guaranteed. This wasn't just an endorsement contract. This was generational wealth secured before her first professional game even happened. Most WNBA veterans have never seen a single endorsement deal worth anything close to that amount. Think about that for a moment. Players who have spent 10, 15, even 20 years building their careers and establishing their names in the league were watching a rookie sign a contract that exceeded anything they'd ever touched. Nike doesn't just hand out 8-figure deals to anyone. They conducted extensive market research. They analyzed viewership potential. They calculated how much revenue Clark could generate for their basketball division. And they concluded she was worth $28 million over nearly a decade. That decision validated something the entire sports world was starting to recognize. Clark wasn't just another talented player. She was a generational talent who could shift entire market dynamics. But Nike was just the appetizer. Gatorade came next, putting Clark in territory reserved for absolute superstars. We're talking about the same brand association as LeBron James and Serena Williams. No WNBA athlete had ever reached that level of corporate recognition. Gatorade invests in athletes who move products and shift culture. That's their entire business model. They identified Clark as someone who could do both at a level nobody in women's basketball had achieved before. Wilson Sporting Goods added another layer to Clark's growing empire. This wasn't just any endorsement partnership. Wilson made Clark the face of basketballs and equipment across multiple sports retailers. The first major athlete partnership for them since Michael Jordan. Every time someone walks into a sporting goods store and sees Clark's face on basketball displays, that's revenue flowing directly into her accounts. Every purchase tied to her image generates money for her brand portfolio. Speaking engagements became another revenue stream that left established players speechless. Clark started commanding appearance fees for corporate events and conferences that exceeded what some WNBA players earn in entire seasons. Companies weren't just paying for basketball expertise. They were investing in Clark's ability to draw crowds and generate buzz. She became the person corporations wanted front and center at their events because her presence moved the needle on attendance and media coverage. The television numbers tell the real story behind Clark's earning power. Games featuring Clark saw viewership jump by 400% compared to typical WNBA broadcasts. That's not a small increase. That's a complete reshaping of how networks value women's basketball content. Networks started bidding against each other for rights to broadcast Fever games. Advertisers lined up to buy commercial time during Clark appearances. Revenue streams that had never existed in women's basketball suddenly became major profit centers. Stadium attendance followed the same pattern. Cities hosting Fever games saw ticket sales surge beyond anything they'd experienced in previous seasons. Merchandise sales spiked everywhere Clark played. Local businesses around arenas reported increased foot traffic on game days. Clark wasn't just playing basketball. She was driving economic activity across entire metropolitan areas. That's the kind of impact that corporations measure and quantify when determining endorsement value. Her social media presence translated directly into marketing value that brands couldn't ignore. Millions of followers engaged with every post, creating advertising reach that traditional sports marketing rarely achieves. Companies realized Clark could access demographics that had never shown interest in women's basketball before. She had the ability to turn casual social media followers into invested fans who attended games, bought merchandise, and consumed WNBA content regularly.
And here it is. To determine the most powerful women in sports, Forbes began with some critical questions. Who are the owners using their wealth to drive business opportunities and investments into their team or sport? Who are the athletes with the biggest platforms reaching the most fans and commanding attention that is driving consumer interest? Who are the executives, coaches, and amplifiers fueling this ecosystem's growth by boosting attendance or merchandise sales and forging big money media rights deals? We then divided each sector's power players into 5 categories: owners/investors, business executives, front office leaders, athletes, and amplifiers, and examined Forbes' proprietary team valuations, company and sport revenue figures, media mentions, and social media follower and engagement data from sports marketing firm Two Circles, plus recent news.
The Forbes ranking as the top basketball earner made the financial gap crystal clear. Clark's $8.1 million dwarfed the next closest player, Sabrina Ionescu, who earned $6.3 million. That difference represents the premium brands were willing to pay for Clark's unique combination of talent and marketability. Corporate America recognized what basketball fans already knew. Clark possessed something special that couldn't be taught or replicated. Her potential stretched far beyond what any player had achieved, because she brought new audiences into the sport while maintaining the respect of existing fans. Clark didn't just break earning records, she redefined what was possible for women's basketball players in terms of commercial appeal and market value. The financial success proved female athletes could command serious money when they delivered the right combination of performance and personality. Young female athletes looking at Clark's success suddenly saw a roadmap for their own futures. The earning potential transformed from a pipe dream into a realistic possibility. Now let's talk about A'ja Wilson's reaction to all of this, because her jealousy has been absolutely relentless and honestly kind of fascinating to watch unfold in real time. Wilson's resentment didn't just appear overnight. This jealousy has been simmering for months, bubbling up through social media posts and interviews that reveal exactly how she feels about Clark's meteoric rise. The pattern started early and has only gotten worse as Clark's star continued shining brighter. The Nike deal announcement broke Wilson's composure first. While Clark celebrated her historic contract, Wilson took to social media questioning why rookies received treatment that veterans had to earn over years. She never mentioned Clark by name, but the timing made her target obvious. Wilson started sharing old photos of herself with Nike executives, reminding everyone that she had brand relationships too. That subtle campaign morphed into something much more obvious over the following weeks. Wilson posted daily content about veteran accomplishments, newcomer expectations, and the importance of paying dues. Each post felt like a direct response to Clark coverage dominating sports headlines. Her Instagram stories became a running commentary on media hype and undeserved attention. The "I Have a Shoe Too" campaign became Wilson's most desperate attempt to reclaim the spotlight. She started posting photos of her Nike signature shoe from every angle, tagging Nike in stories about veteran loyalty and longtime partnerships. Wilson even began sharing throwback content from her shoe launch events, something she'd never done consistently before Clark entered the picture. Time magazine's Athlete of the Year announcement pushed Wilson over another edge. Her congratulations post for Clark lasted exactly one sentence, with no personal message or excitement. Compare that to the multi-paragraph celebrations Wilson posts when other players win awards. Wilson's social media history shows she typically goes all out supporting fellow athletes, which made her lukewarm response to Clark stand out like a sore thumb. The contrast was intentional, and everyone noticed. The timing of Wilson's own shoe struggles made everything worse. Her Nike signature model wasn't moving units, while Clark's endorsements dominated sports business headlines. Retail reports showed Wilson's shoes sitting on shelves, while anything connected to Clark sold out immediately. She couldn't escape the comparison between her established but stagnant brand presence and Clark's explosive market appeal. That reality probably stung more than any social media post could convey. Speaking engagement jealousy became obvious when Wilson started posting about her appearance fees for the first time ever. She began sharing backstage photos from corporate events and mentioning speaking opportunities in ways that felt forced and unnatural. Wilson had been doing corporate appearances for years without broadcasting them on social media. But Clark's high-profile speaking deals suddenly made Wilson want everyone knowing about her bookings. The desperation was palpable, and her followers definitely picked up on it.
Wilson's social media behavior shifted toward questioning Clark's actual impact on the sport. She posted statistics about veteran scoring records, longtime WNBA viewership numbers, and established player contributions in ways that read like direct responses to Clark coverage. Wilson started using the phrase "real impact" and "sustained excellence" in ways designed to diminish Clark's achievements. Her comments about media attention became increasingly pointed as the season progressed. Wilson began making subtle digs about hype versus substance and the importance of proving yourself over time. These weren't general observations about the league. Wilson's timing and word choices made clear she was responding to Clark's continued success and growing influence. The pattern revealed exactly what Wilson's core issue was with Clark's rise. This wasn't about basketball performance or team success. Wilson's jealousy centered on watching someone else become the face of women's basketball practically overnight. She spent years building her brand and establishing herself as a league cornerstone, only to see Clark eclipse her relevance in months. Wilson's behavior showed a veteran player who couldn't handle sharing the spotlight with someone more talented and marketable. Her passive-aggressive social media campaigns, lukewarm public support, and pointed comments about hype revealed a player threatened by change and progress in her sport. The Forbes ranking announcement became the moment Wilson's jealousy exploded into public view. All those months of subtle undermining and social media campaigns culminated in reactions that exposed her true feelings about Clark's success and influence. Forbes doesn't mess around when they rank the most powerful women in sports. Their methodology digs deep into real numbers that matter. They measure earnings, social media reach, endorsement value, and cultural impact across 5 key sectors. Clark dominated every single category that mattered, leaving the competition scrambling to keep up. The ranking process uses a weighted formula that prioritizes financial control and overall influence within the sports industry. Forbes analyzed proprietary team valuations, company revenue figures, media mentions,
and social media engagement data. Clark's numbers in each category painted a clear picture of dominance that couldn't be ignored or disputed by anyone paying attention. Clark landed at number 4 on the overall list, making her the highest-ranked athlete among all women included. She beat tennis legends who have been building their brands for decades. She surpassed Olympic champions with years of international recognition. Clark accomplished in 1 year what most athletes spend entire careers trying to achieve. Her social media presence exploded past established stars across multiple sports. Marketing executives started taking notice when Clark's engagement rates consistently outperformed athletes with much larger followings. Raw follower counts tell one story, but engagement rates reveal the real influence. Clark's posts generated interactions that translated directly into marketing value brands couldn't find anywhere else. The cultural impact measurement revealed something even more impressive about Clark's influence. She brought completely new demographics into women's basketball. Families who had never watched WNBA games became regular viewers. Young girls started playing basketball because they wanted to be like Clark. Corporate executives who had ignored women's sports suddenly saw profit potential they'd never recognized before. Forbes specifically noted Clark's ability to drive revenue beyond her own earnings. Venues hosting fever games saw ticket sales surge. Cities experienced increased tourism and local business revenue on game days. Broadcast networks bid against each other for rights to air Clark's games. She created economic activity that rippled through entire communities wherever she played. Her crossover appeal into golf and other sports demonstrated influence that transcended basketball completely. Clark participated in pro-AM golf tournaments that attracted mainstream media coverage. Sports networks featured her appearances across different athletic events. This multi-sport recognition represents something Wilson has never achieved, despite years of trying to expand her brand reach.
The endorsement portfolio diversity set Clark apart from typical single-sport athletes. Brands saw her as more than just a basketball player. Nike, Gatorade, and Wilson each approached Clark differently, recognizing her potential to reach audiences beyond traditional basketball fans. Her deals reflected marketing strategies usually reserved for global superstars who compete in multiple sports or entertainment industries. Clark's estimated $8.1 million in annual income signaled a shift in how female athletes are valued professionally. Forbes highlighted this financial success as evidence of her growing influence and marketability. The number represented more than just personal earnings. Clark's income demonstrated what becomes possible when talent meets the right marketing approach and cultural timing. So here's the bottom line. Caitlin Clark didn't just become the highest-ranked female athlete. She completely changed what's possible in women's sports. A'ja Wilson's jealousy proves it. Why do you think Wilson struggles with this so much? Drop your answer in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.